How are we, boys and girls? Welcome to the Going Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Braam Hein, creating Koala on all social media platforms, and here we'll be deep diving on all things health and wellness related. Yes, this is back to the old setup, I guess, because all the other rooms are taken. So, we do what we can with what we've got. That's what we're going to do. I just meal prep for like 2.5 hours because I poorly timed everything. But I got a slow cooker now, so that's cool. And it helped, I think, hopefully, because if it doesn't taste good, then that's going to be problematic. It looks good though, I don't know. Today's episode 35, which is crazy to say. I keep saying that every week, but it's crazy still. Sorry. But today's episode is all about appliances for weight loss, because there's a lot of things that can be done with weight loss without appliances, and there's some things that just become a lot easier or a lot more definitive when you have these kinds of things. And I have found that using these things has helped me a lot in my journeys across the years that I've done them, whatever, however many I've done, whatever. But there's things that are necessary, and there's things that are completely non-essential. There's a lot of things that are being sold to people that BS that you don't really need, and there's a lot of apps and stuff like that, like AI calorie tracking. Don't freaking believe that stuff. They said two bad words there, but because those kinds of things just they don't work. They might be good for general tracking, like in terms of if you're going out to eat and you have no idea what is on the plate, then maybe that can help. But even then, it's still not going to be anywhere near as accurate. It can be hundreds, if not thousands, of calories off. But today I'm going to cover the 4 main ones that I think are very, 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 very helpful in terms of helping you on whatever fitness journey that you're on, whether it be trying to gain weight, maintain, or lose weight. And again, you don't have to have anything to be on a weight loss journey. Like, you don't even need a scale to see your body weight. You can just track physical changes through mirrors and through how you feel and how you look, because that's like, it's ultimately at the end of the day what you're looking for. But having like body weight scales are the things that you can actually measure if what you're doing is working in terms of losing weight per se. So the first thing isn't actually going to be a body weight scale that's going to be on my list of that's going to help you in your weight loss journey. The first one that is going to be a food scale, and I wholeheartedly believe that having a food scale and measuring out all the food that you eat and whatever you do, whether it be sauces or whatever it is, where you're weighing out food raw, weighing it out cooked, weighing it out cut, pre-cut, whatever it is you're weighing. If you weigh it out, you track it properly with food apps, the food like calorie tracking apps on your phone, there is no possible way, unless you are just tracking it wrong, then that you won't lose weight or you won't progress towards whatever goal you're going towards. Like, food scales and weighing it out, what is measured can be tracked, and what is tracked can be measured. So it just makes everything easier. You can, like, if you are eating 2,300 calories a day on the dot because you track everything correctly and you are losing weight, you are on the right track. And then if you're losing weight at too high of a deficit, you can adjust the food that you're eating with the food scale, with like literally adjust it to be like, oh, I'm eating 70 grams of raw white rice and I'm still losing a bunch of weight. I can bump it up to 80 and we'll see how my body changes through that. And then ultimately at the same time, if you're going from a cut to a bulk, you can eat the same foods, just change the amount that you're eating, so then you can adjust correctly to a different phase. And then you can also use these food scales with the calorie tracking apps, like I said, MyFitnessPal, MacroFactor, whatever you want to do, whatever. There's another one which I'm forgetting right now. It's got like a smiley face or like an apple, something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But any of those, whichever one you prefer, and tracking it correctly by scanning the barcode or just searching out exactly what the name is and getting the right calories and macros on it, then there's no way that you don't progress towards your goals. So food scales, number one on my list. Wholeheartedly believe in those. Second one being smart scales or just weight, like body weight scales in general. Smart scales, I feel like obviously they're a bit more expensive, but they are better because they can track using like BIA, which isn't technically the greatest form of body composition tracking, but it is better than nothing. If you're just looking at the weight on a scale, like that can fluctuate. It's by over 10% of body weight, or no, I don't think it's 10%. It's like 5% of body weight. It can fluctuate with water and stress and all that kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis, and fluctuate on an hourly basis. So having smart scales to actually track if there's extra water retention in the body, and if you're actually losing muscle mass, because even if technically it is wrong per se by a little bit, if it's consistently wrong, at least it's consistently that number. So it'll still track from that number, from the starting number. So you can see if you're gaining or losing muscle or gaining or losing fat in the right. I'm trying to make sure this makes sense. So even if it is at the wrong number, it's still going to go off that number. And if you're losing body fat and you can visibly see it, and that number is still going, that body fat number on the scale is going down, you're still losing the right body fat. I don't know how to make this make sense. In my head, it makes sense. I can't really say it though. Get back to you on that. Nah. So obviously DEXAs are the gold standard. So if you get a DEXA, it might be different to what the BIA is, but if you're resistance training, you should be gaining muscle, and both of the scale and the DEXA will say that you're getting muscle. Although those numbers might be different, you're still gaining in each of the numbers, which means you're on the right track. There you go. I said it correctly. Nice. Good stuff, Braam. But smart scales are better than regular scales just because they do have all the extra options of tracking and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, not necessarily, of course, but regular scales, I feel like, are just a number. And although it is good to measure that from that number, that the weight on the number on the scale isn't everything, because obviously body composition changes are a factor that come into play. And sometimes you might not lose weight. Sometimes the scale might say you actually gain weight, but you look better in the mirror, and that's what matters in the end of the day. So number 3, step trackers. So I got one on my wrist right now, Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, whatever it is. Activity tracking on these things are fantastic to see if you are moving as much as you think you are, if you are getting as many steps in a day as you need to. Obviously people will aim for 10,000 steps in a day. If you don't have those kinds of things on you, then you can't really track that. And then obviously if you move more during one day, move less during another day, there's going to be different calorie expenditures during each of those days, and you don't have to adjust 100% to those. But if you do move less, like a lot less during a day, if you usually get like 12,000 steps, you only get like 5,000, then it's probably just a little bit, maybe like 100, 200 less calories in that day. You probably won't be as hungry either way. But also on the other end, if you usually get like 8,000 steps, then you get 16,000. Then you're like, okay, I can afford to eat a few 100 or so, maybe 200 more calories in this day, just so I can properly fuel my body and recover in the ways that I need to. And then obviously the calorie expenditure metrics on these watches, and they're not very accurate. Studies have shown that. And then they're trying to work on making them more accurate. It's going to be pretty hard to make them 100% accurate because they don't know your specific base metabolic rate. And that's just kind of impossible to do with a wearable device. It's only really possible with actual technology within labs, but I digress. But step tracking is a huge thing on any kind of journey that you're on, just to make sure that you're getting enough movement in a day and that you're burning more calories and you're getting the body going, getting digestion going, and just having a healthy body regardless of whatever journey you're on. And step tracking is a fantastic way to do that. Okay, the last one is kind of a rapid fire one. And that is any appliance that makes cooking and meal prepping as easy as possible. So for me, that personally, that's the rice cooker that I have, the slow cooker that I just got, an air fryer, blender. I wish I had like one of those food choppers so you can just chop food. Zucchini spiralers. I'm blanking on every other food appliance that exists, but anything that makes your life easier and spend less time meal prepping, spend less time having to worry about it, and then all that kind of jazz. Those things are fantastic. Ninja Creamy. Oh my god, I wish I had one. Oh, they're so good. They're so cool. But I digress. They're so expensive though. They're like $200. I'm like, I can't afford that personally. Paying to go to school. Anyway, yeah. So anything that helps you and makes your life easier in terms of that, because a lot of factors that happen within any kind of fitness journey is that it just takes too much time nutritionally to do that, and obviously nutrition is probably the most. It's not probably, sorry. It is the most crucial portion of weight loss and of weight gain and weight maintenance and just feeling your best. So any way that you can make that process easier for you, it will 100% be worth it in terms of the monetary value of it. Even if it's like $120, like an but I've heard only good things about those things, because you can have the ice cream like consistency every single day, but it's just pure protein. Like with those kinds of machines, you can do that, but that's never been able to be done before. It just makes your life so much easier, and it makes everything feel less worky. It makes you feel like you're not having to do as much to get towards the goal, which ultimately will help you reach the goal, because you'll be able to gain more momentum over time. Bada bing, bada bang, and run through that wall and reach your goals. So anything like that, blenders, food choppers again, because I know people don't like chopping vegetables, that kind of stuff. Then I've seen people like, but I personally now, I saw a recipe for this rice. I call it big boy rice, but like you put rice, quinoa, and beans into the rice cooker and just cook it like you would normal rice, but it actually makes kind of a higher protein, higher fiber rice that I use now in all my meals. One, it tastes fantastic. Two, I'm getting way more fiber in a day. Three, I'm getting more protein from my carb source, so it makes my meals way more protein dense, way more dense in fiber, and I've just am able to hit my goals so much easier, whereas I would have to try and figure out more ways to fit in fibrous foods or higher protein things. And so I'm having less processed high like protein snacks and fibery products or whatever, like 5-1 bars, and I'm able to do that without having to fully think about it. I'm just thinking about, oh, I'm having rice with my chicken, but it's also giving me all these other benefits through it. And then you also have those like salad choppers or whatever the hell they are. You can use those to make pre-made salads and just put everything in it and just chop it, and then it's bang a salad for you. That's an easy way to get in more vegetables without having to think about it, without having to make this concoction with having to chop each individual thing and put it into a bowl, blah, blah, blah. You just put it all into one thing, bang, chop, and your salad's made. Those kinds of things are fantastic for journeys, just because it makes the journeys feel like less of a journey, which is kind of a paradox in itself. But when on these, whatever fitness endeavor you're on, you want to make it feel as effortless as you can to make sure that you're going to stick to it for as long as possible. So these kinds of things help out tremendously. And wow, that was an abrupt ending. That's those four, like I said, more than 4 things, but the food scale, the smart scales, regular weight scales, step trackers, and then anything that makes your life easier in terms of meal prep and cooking. Those are the main things that you should probably focus on when you're first getting into your journey, if you want to look at different appliances and technologies that you can get into to help you reach your goals. But again, you obviously don't need any of these things, but these are the 4 things that I would say, if you were to look at anything, they should be the first 4. And then anything else is either way too expensive and not worth your time, or just not worth your time. So those other ones, like, I'm kind of blanking on anything like cold tubs and saunas and that kind of stuff. They're just super expensive. Are they kind of beneficial? Yeah, but they're just super expensive, not very space efficient, and then you just have this massive cold tub in your backyard that you're probably never going to use. So focus on these ones that I said today. Let me know how you go. Don't have to get all of them at once. If you get any of them and you like it, let me know in the comments. So send me a DM or something like that. And then if you want me to elaborate further on any of these, I can. Especially with the step tracking ones. I know those are a little bit funky with the activity levels and the calorie burnage and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it says I burned 900 calories today. I've done nothing really today except for get steps. There's no way I burn 900 extra calories on top of my maintenance, but I digress. Anyway, I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend. It's Saturday, so I'm gonna have a fun time this weekend. I'm going to a Tigers game tomorrow, so first baseball game. Let's go. Come on. And then I'll be back next week for episode 36. I just realized you're gonna see us on Wednesday, so this was all the previous weekend, so I already enjoyed it. But you can ask me if I enjoyed it, and I'll tell you if I did. Episode 36 next week. Let me know what you guys want to see, and then I will get back to you guys in a few weeks. Enjoy your weekends and your times and your lives, and then make sure to, whatever journey you're on, enjoy the journey. And that's it.